Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fault Lines launch party. It's really exciting to see you all here to celebrate the launch of Mark's book, Fault Lines. Can I get my camera to recognize it? No, I can't. It's a moving void. You have to assume that I have a copy of Fault Lines with me, and it's really pretty and really lovely. We're going to celebrate by having readings from Volta, which is the pop-up that I'm going to be publishing after this party is over. Pardon me. And some amazing people have contributed some amazing work, and several of them have consented to read it as part of the celebration, which is really exciting. And then we're going to have an interactive and participatory reading from Mark, where we are going to try and pick our way through the fractured wonder that is Fault Lines. So, without further ado, we are going to start with Meditation Atop Humpback Rocks, and that is by Ashley. And if you want to do a brief intro, feel free. If you want to just get straight in and read it, that's also okay. So, Ashley, take it away.
Okay, everyone can hear me? Okay, cool. Hi, I'm super excited to be here. This poem is called Meditation Atop Humpback Rocks, July 5th, 2023. And I'm not going to give a lot of intro, but it's in honor of someone that I lost last year, and kind of a neat experience finding the vibe of her on a hike that I took. So it's Meditation Atop Humpback Rocks, July 5th, 2023. This hike is really hard. Above the breaching humpback, raptors float. Fish fly to deeper blue, evading seabirds. What's gravity to these majestic sisters? Till your last whale-fall peaceful exhalation, your fear of falling wouldn't let you climb to this green realm's bright edge where eagles wheel. I've heaved my dripping mass aloft alone now. Out of my depth, I ache to rise anew. Earth breaches into heaven. In my mind's eye, warm updrafts lift my salt-blown kiss to you. Thank you.
That was so beautiful. Thank you, Ashley. And I know that was an emotional thing for you to read as well. So thank you so much for trusting us and sharing that with us. That's really, really lovely. Our next reading is another sonnet by Anna Gassaway, part of a sequence, Sonnets for My Mother's Marriages. And this one is David, 1971 to 1986. I'm going to just share my screen, and then I will hand over to you.
Hi, everybody. This is Anna Gassaway. My voice is a little bit low because I have a little bit cold, but I'm happy to be here. So without further ado, Sonnets for My Mother's Marriages, David, 1971 to 1986. My mother later told me that they had sex 4 times a day, every day, till a world brides taken to induce abortion. Between me and my little brother, she already had 3 babies under 3, and my father hid her birth control. When she found it and began taking it again, he denied her sex, and they both started having affairs. Where did they find the time? She worked as a nurse at a children's home. He sold books for Zondervan. There was us. All I know is this, the split pea soup that my mother's dentist's wife made for us kids. Warm and filling, her pleas for mom to give her husband back, fading. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. I love that one. I think all of these pieces, what all of these pieces have in common is that they have some kind of a volta. So some kind of, I mean, a volta is a traditional part of a sonnet, as many of you will know, where the tone or the mood or the theme of the work will suddenly kind of tilt and under your feet. And I particularly love the volta in that piece. How often when I like to write pieces that do that, and often the temptation for me is to go from familiar to unsettling, to pull the rug out from under people's feet. And what I love about this is that it it goes from quite tough to comforting, although the strangeness of the comfort that you're getting. And I absolutely love that. Anyway, our next piece.
Can I show you? Can I show you a picture?
Please, yeah, please do.
It's this is my brother and my sister and me. 3 kids under 3.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think it's very.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so touching to see that kind of anchor to your reality. So our next piece is by one of our longer term contributors, Melissa. I think Melissa is another one of the people to whom I owe an apology for bringing twine into her life. The first piece of hers I published was actually a very simple, which is absolutely acceptable, Word document, choose your own adventure type thing. And so yeah, her interactive work is definitely a staple of the void space, and this is something different.
Well, thank you. Yes, I think I've published in almost all of the issues since issue 2. I think I missed a couple. And I love the pop-ups because it just takes me in a new direction. And yeah, every time I think of a story in Twine, it takes me down a rabbit hole. So thanks for that, Katie. I mean, I do really like it because I've done some really great creative stuff with it. But this one is a little bit more straightforward than some of that. So I'll get started with it. Isn't that what writers do? Grace had missed Charles when he first transferred to her department. He'd been on vacation, then she'd been on vacation. They were in a few meetings together, but he was quiet and reserved. The first time he talked to her directly, he managed to offend her. It was early in the morning when only a few people were in the office. She hadn't really talked to him before then, but she was complaining to another colleague about people using AI to write copy. As a writer, it drove her mad. I don't think we should be encouraging our executive team to use it. And it's not just because it's my job as a writer to handle their communication, she said. There are ethical concerns, as all AA does is take stuff that's already been written before on the internet. Charles overheard and chimed in. Isn't that what writers do anyway? Just come up with different combinations of the same words? Grace rolled her eyes and tried hard not to quip back in anger. I'd like to think what I do is more complicated than that, Grace said. As a writer, when I do my job well, I make people feel things. Charles just shrugged. I used AI once to write a summary of a presentation I had to give at a conference, and it worked pretty well. Grace wanted to tell him that she had played around with a chatbot once, and she was pretty sure it was trained by horny 15-year-olds for how frequently it brought up boobs. But she didn't say that. Instead, she said, I guarantee I can bring more nuance to your communication than a robot. When Charles asked her for help on an email to his team the next week, she couldn't keep her sarcasm in. I'll try my best to be as clever as ChatGPT, she said. He just laughed. I'm sure whatever you write will be great, Grace. She couldn't tell if he missed her annoyance or if he was just if he missed her annoyance or if he was too polite to address it. She drafted the email, he reviewed it, and was gracious to receive her help. But Grace only heard the echo of his words. Isn't that what writers do anyway? Grace didn't like Charles, with his perfect grooming and his shiny dress shoes. She was always suspicious of people who dressed too well. She knew at least one of her previous bosses had judged her for her looks, for her wavy wild hair and her too curvy body, as though she could tame those things. She looked at Charles and assumed he was vain and judgmental, just based on his tailored suits. In September, when everyone returned from summer vacations, Grace was assigned to gather images of a company picnic for social media and a newsletter. Ride around with Charles and get photos of him and the other executives with employees, her boss told her. She wasn't looking forward to it, but she begrudgingly followed Charles out to the parking lot where a golf cart awaited to drive them around the sprawling county park near their office. Grace climbed into the back seat of the golf cart and Charles slid in from the other side. She scooched over as far as she could to the left, self-conscious about the sweat collecting under her arms and the wrinkles in her blouse. Charles was slim and impeccably dressed like always, even though at the moment he had a t-shirt on over his navy trousers and his tan brogues. He never smelled like anything except the occasional coffee on his breath, and Grace worried that after running around the office and prep for the afternoon festivities, that the animal scent of her body was no longer hidden by her deodorant. The driver of the golf cart, one of the guys from the mailroom, trained to use it, rolled up the vinyl sides of the cart around the front seat. It's hot and stuffy if you don't, he said. You might want to roll yours up, too. Charles unzipped his side and pinned it up quickly, while Grace twisted awkwardly in her seat, trying not to bump Charles while she rolled up her side. When she got it to the top, the bundle of vinyl was too loosely rolled to fit through the small loop with the snap. She had flashbacks to her inability to tie up a sleeping bag back when she'd been a Girl Scout. The driver shot her an impatient look. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble. Then Charles leaned in her direction, both his arms outstretched out around her, and took both ends of the vinyl. He didn't touch her, but she felt a charge at having him so close. At his breath, a whisper just past her left ear. If she leaned back just an inch, it would almost be like he was hugging her. He rolled up the vinyl and snapped it easily, then settled back on his own side of the cart. In that moment, his willingness to be so close to her wiped away any offense, real or imaginary, Grace had felt from Charles. The next morning, she looked through the photos on her phone from the party. She uploaded some to the cloud for the newsletter, posted a few on social media, and deleted a bunch. She kept the ones of Charles in his company t-shirt over his dress pants, smiling for the camera. Or maybe smiling at her.
Thank you, Melissa. I love that one. I love the dance between how we perceive people and how we think they perceive us, and that little dance of judgment that just kind of goes in circles. Um, Really great, really great. Our next reading is from K.A. Nielsen, and it is another sonnet. And the title is, I think, one of my favorite titles ever, which is For the Peach I Left in Antarctica.
Hi there, thank you. Yeah, well, first off, thank you, Katie and Mark, for hosting this and giving us a reason to celebrate. That's wonderful. I won't say much about this except that it was a sonnet I was tricked into writing during a workshop. So be careful out there. All right. For the peach I left in Antarctica. Bless you, my peach. Thank you for waiting. I know you miss those juicy sunbeams dripping through your velvet hair. Are you frozen? A stone for a pit? I'm sailing from Ushuaia down, down to bury my toes into Antarctic snow. My peach, my love, tell me I'm not too late. Tell me snow still covers the South Pole. Tell me you're not rotting, my love, my sweet. Don't let the worms tunnel through your flesh. I'm coming, my peach. And soon I'll slide, my penguin belly slicking the snow, and press my lips to your frosted fuzz. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. I love that. That's just such a a lovely sideways way of making us think about climate change and all of those issues. Absolutely lovely. Our next reading is a piece of prose this time by Stephen Meyer, who is, I believe, a new contributor, which is really exciting. I am going to just share my screen and then I will let you continue.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I've noticed that much of the work that I get published is in Europe and not in America, which leads me to believe I'm living in the wrong place. This is a story called The Blue Country. It's semi-autobiographical. Can everyone hear me? Yes? Okay. I sit beside sorrow, heading crosstown, eyes straining to catch the dress through iridescent drops pelting the windshield. I step off the tram and climb the steps of a brownstone. A woman answers the door. She wears a black avian print dress that conforms to her svelte body. Where have I seen her before? Perhaps she's the doctor I seek, extending her arm in cordial expectation. Her pale skin is warm and soft, her scent pleasant like delicate incense. Her wedding band is simple but elegant, quite similar to the one I chose for my beloved. Without uttering a word, her presence reassures me. Then a dreadful notion. What if she's in a hallucination? Can I trust her? Can I trust myself? We take our seats in her oaken office, and I observe her input data into a laptop. Keystrokes flutter like the startled birds, the flock of birds taking flight off her dress. There in a village, there is a village not found on any map, doctor. Its streets intersect like human limbs, written in aberrant shapes, nearly impossible to traverse in the constant melancholy of inclement weather. Raindrops beat loud, frantic rhythms like unborn hearts, cascading onto sunken gardens. Ivy chokes stone walls. Behind the windows, vapors dance wildly, perhaps lost spirits or the smoke of an oven in search of a chimney. Those who dwell there, seem forged in mist and vanish at the first sign of desire. Stefan, you say this place does not exist, yet describe it as if you have been there many times. It is not found on any map, is what I said. I've never lived there, nor recall visiting reality. Yet again and again, without warning, I find myself standing at the entryway of an old dreary house. Perhaps it's a dreamscape designed to instill fear or remorse. Dreams present us with enigmatic settings at the expense of everything else. A stranger or someone dear to us might enter the story to guide us along its mysterious path. Yes, that's what happens. Such reveries impress, yet seldom provide resolution, she says. When did these episodes begin? 40 years ago. The doctor nods and sighs, showing no surprise, as if she too experienced my years of suffering. Another flock of birds scatters off her dress. Continue, she says. I arrive in a village around twilight. Every sensation, nuance, each word is a facsimile of the previous encounter. Beads of sweat cover me as if I were plunged into a vat of otherworldly tears. Beneath the arching canopy of a chestnut tree, a voice whispers, "Come along." We enter the gabled house illuminated by frosted moonlight. My legs tremble as the wooden stairs bend under my weight. The only support is the cold hand of a little girl holding my wrist. Don't be afraid, she says. Only monsters are. The child seems pleased yet suspicious of my arrival. Her flaxen hair hangs in ringlets, her face sallow, with almond eyes innocent of nature's indifference toward pain. Her arms and legs are marred with lacerations, ribbons of flesh healed into jagged scars. She is dressed in the shades of her wounds, from her turquoise barrettes and gentian flowered jumper to her navy button shoes of a different era. Come into the nursery, she says. I will introduce you to my friends. We enter a room. Rusty hinges barely hold the door to its frame. The wooden door sways against walls that sob in uneven breaths. Ah, my lovely Mira, says the little girl, you are broken, but that's okay. And you, unpredictable table, you have only 3 legs, but I love you all the same. I pity the child and offer to replace her flawed possessions,
Guts.
removing from my wallet and placing several bills on the unsteady table. With this money, she says, I'll buy food for to last the winter. Don't be sad while I'm away. My diary's on the table if you care to read it. Goodbye for now. Before I can stop her, she is gone, and with her part of myself. I open the diary, but every page is blank. I am alone with nothing but a descant of raindrops striking the window panes. The creaking stairway announces her return. Her arms surround a box of pastries, and a small sack hangs from her shoulder. I don't like the look on your face, she says. You think me foolish. She sets the box down and empties the sack of chestnuts onto a platter, then arranges them in rows like toy blocks and places the lot on a grid in an open oven. I know what you're thinking, she says. There are enough of them to keep me out of trouble. With a slight tilt of her head, she peeks into the box of pastries, then reaches in and pulls out a praline, closes her eyes and wraps her lips around it. Little monsters, she calls the chestnuts as they dance upon the heat. You depend on me for everything. She removes the pan and bites the stubborn ones whose skin refused to burst. Now be happy and make no complaints, she chides. With little regard for my company, she skips to the far side of the room and climbs upon a stool. In the dim light, she holds an embroidery frame and begins stitching. My work is worth something, don't you think? Mother would agree. Where is your mother? Somewhere, I suppose. Who takes care of you? Oh, don't be silly. I do. The child is too young to bear such a responsibility. In consternation, I tap on the broken table, my fingers entraining the sound of raindrops striking the roof. She grips her chest, distressed by my restless movement. I stop. One heart cannot beat as 2, she says. I'm all right now. My eyes fix on her thin legs. You're staring at my scars. No child deserves them. Can I tell you a secret? Certainly, you can trust me. Once I wandered into the blue country. I say blue because it is the color of all things that die. I fell asleep and woke to find these cuts on my limbs. Color can't harm you, certainly not blue. It sits at the center of a rainbow. I've never seen a rainbow. There is no sky in the blue country. Rainbows need sunlight to reveal their beauty. You won't find them here either. Disheartened, the child lowers her head. Do you have other friends beside the mirror and table? Oh yes, there's a little boy. Come out, you troublemaker. Don't be afraid, she alerts me. He can be a monster. How can a child be such a thing, I say. I saw him crying beneath a tree in the blue country. He too wandered into that land. We found our way back to this village, but all who visit there must return. It won't be long until I must go. I'll be very sad if you do, I say. Come away with me. Does this child show any desire to leave with you, asks the doctor. Please let me continue. A misshapen runt appears at the door. The boy is frail and hunched over, lacking distinct features, somehow incomplete. Shyly he approaches, peeling fruit and tossing the rinds carelessly about. Pick them up, she shouts. How dare you dirty my place? She unbuttons a shoe and throws it at him. The boy sticks out his tongue, giggles and scampers away. He likes you even though you treat him harshly, I say. It's all pretend, he's not real. But I saw him. Her odd behavior and puzzling words confuse me, yet my fondness for the child grows. I ask if we might meet again. You monster, she says, staring at my reflection in her broken mirror. You must come back before it is too late. Tears run down my cheeks. The doctor reaches for a tissue but wipes her eyes, then asks if I am strong enough to go on. My time is not up. Let me finish. In the ensuing days, I glean nothing more of the girl's life. I urge her to leave the house and come away with me. No, no, she insists. Too late for that. The winter nears its end, yet dark clouds hover and the rain turns colder. I try a new tactic, a plan to snatch her from the village. I enter the house, but she is missing. I sit despondently at her wobbly table, which suddenly collapses, sending her diary tumbling onto my lap. Each page is empty, except for the last. Dear Papa, you are not a monster. Goodbye. I've gone to the blue country. That is everything, doctor, down to the last detail. Help me find her before it is too late. The doctor stands. It is too late, she bluntly states. These episodes pose an unresolvable conflict between obsession and closure. Your addiction to life's greatest sorrow has gone untreated far too long and transformed you into a prisoner of grief. But you know this. You should have come to me long ago. I sink into the chair under the oppressive weight of regret. The doctor closes her laptop, and the last bevy of birds flies from her dress. The child is lost, she says. Resurrection is not an option. I cannot offer relief where none exists, other than the warmth of my body and the touch of my lips. What kind of doctor are you? One who knows suffering equal to yours. Though I am not a violent person, I lunge and shake her. Help me. Stop this instant. Neither of us is immune to such sorrow, except hopelessness. The doctor is frustrated. The moonlight in her eyes waxes and wanes. She closes the laptop and taps on it. With each stroke of her finger, I come to understand my situation. I have lived in the village for 40 years, and so has the doctor. Though I seek her help, I must no longer discharge my burden on her. The pendulum on the clock stops. Your time is up, it says. The doctor tilts her head, not unlike the little girl. Concerning the dire nature of your plight, yes, doctor? The child cannot return, but what prevents you from accompanying her? The doctor directs my eyes towards a nearby desk. There, Stefan, in the top drawer, is a one-way ticket to the blue country. Many times I considered using it myself. Oh, doctor, I thought you didn't care. Nonsense, I care as much as you. I approach the desk, open the drawer, take out the ticket, and place it against my temple. Suddenly, the good doctor rushes toward me and pulls my arm down. She seals her lips to mine, igniting a happiness known only before the years of heartbreak. I can't let you go, she says. It's the only way into the blue country. She removes the ticket from my hand. We suffer the same affliction. Let her go, Stefan. Our child is at peace. She demanded your devotion, yet departed alone. I cannot bear to lose you too. The birds return and circle above, then perch again on the good doctor's dress. Their fluttering lifts the edges of travail and releases a calm that for the moment shrouds persistent sorrow.
Thank you, Stephen. That one really takes my breath away. So unexpected and so moving. It's one of those stories that I actually really loved. I finished reading it and then I just started reading it straight again from the top because, of course, once you know what's really going on, you get a lot more out of it the second time. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. Our next reading is going to be from Jessica. Mooncow recounts her origin story in literary present tense. Let me just pull that up for you.
Hello. I'm gonna leave my camera off because my dog is wandering around, so she may interrupt us with a squeaky toy or two. This is my, I think, third publication with The Void. I really appreciate that I get to participate in this today. This is a bit of a more silly piece than what I've done in the past. I was thinking about aliens and cows being abducted, and I came up with this. So we are gazing, we are grazing, we are gathered, we are herded, we are cued, we are three, we are two. She is tagged, he is prodded, he is hanging, he is bleeding. I am next, I am glowing, I am floating, I am existential, I am crisis, I am free-ranging, I am passing clouds, I am the stratosphere, I am the Milky Way, I am Taurus, I am Jupiter, I am Io. I am bouncing, I am leaping. Can you see me? Do you see me? Tell your collie dog, tell your favorite farmhand. Good night, my girl, good night. I knew this day would come.
Thank you. I love that. I cannot tell you what a pleasure it is to have you here. As you say, having just submitted so many just really varied pieces to the zine over the last couple of years. But yeah, I love this one. It's just really lighthearted. I love the fact that Taurus is the first constellation you go for, obviously, because why wouldn't you? So the next one, I just want to mention that Kristen Houlihan has recorded herself reading something, because sadly she can't really do Zoom live. I haven't managed to make the tech work for that, but what I'm going to do is upload it separately on the YouTube channel, and urge everybody to watch it. So it's going to be a little Easter egg after the event. So we're going to move on to Theodora, who I think wins the prize for our furthest participant and our earliest start today, calling as she is from Bali. So thank you particularly for joining us and for sending me this really great piece, Rock and a Hard Place.
Thank you. This is one of a series of flash fictions I'm doing based on Greek myth. And it's called Rock and a Hard Place. Every single time, I believe it will be different. The mountain is so perfect, an almost flawless cone. There are no full summits here, no confusion of peaks, just one gently rounding point. Every single time, I pause, I catch my breath, I rest my cheek against my cool burden, brace my legs, hamstrings taut against the slope, and plan my next move. It is clearly a matter of balance. The summit is small, but not unmanageably so. It is rounded, but imperfectly so. My rock, while spherical enough to roll, has 3 angular faces. If I can position one of these correctly on the summit, my work will be complete. And yet, every single time, up here where the air is thin, my rock holds only for a moment. I position it, I test its balance, I gently, oh so gently, remove my hands. And every single time, gravity takes it. I watch it tumble, gathering speed until it thuds across the black sands around the mountain and slows to a stop. Always, I have noticed, it bounces in the self-same pattern and lands in the exact same spot. It feels important to me that I let the rock complete its fall before I begin my slow and careful journey to rejoin it. I don't know why. The rock and I share a sacred bond. The rock is my duty. I know nothing else. I am nothing until I have rolled my rock into its proper place, balanced on the summit of the mountain. This time, I always feel it will be different. It has to be. Starting the ascent is always the hardest part. The whispering sands clog my rock. It bumps and jags. It will not roll. My shoulders strain for every jerky lump and rotation. Although I have to contend with gravity on the mountain, the smooth surface simplifies my task. Sometimes I find myself in flow. I forget everything but my God-given mission. The rock and I become one, its cool facets nestled against my straining chest, its curves embraced by my strong arms. This is what I was born to do. There is little savour when I reach the summit. This is a dark, dark place. Huge vultures perch on a giant's emaciated ribcage and tear chunks from his exposed liver. A group of women carry leaking water jugs across the plain from a dark river again and again. A man stands in a pool of water below a vine with a rock that looks the exact twin of mine suspended above his head. He bends to drink and the water flows away. He raises his hand to pluck a grape and the vine wriggles away like a grass snake. Perhaps, I sometimes think, once I have completed my task, we could be friends. It might, I think, be pleasant to leave this mountain. I am even sometimes curious how similar our rocks do seem. I am not lonely, however. I am never lonely. The rock is my companion. It is my purpose. I cannot remember a life other than this. This time, it is different. I'm labouring across the sands when a clamour of divine music echoes across the gloomy skies and a warrior materialises on the darkened plain. He is armed with a shining golden sword and long blonde locks. He seems sharper than the rest of us somehow, more vivid, more clearly defined. I inspect my limbs and then I inspect my rock. Our outlines are not perfect like this man's. They are, I notice with a rush of horror, jagged, composed of many tiny cubes. These same minuscule building blocks comprise my mountain. The sands that I have trudged across so many times are blocks, not grains. The music feels like it is mocking me. It is martial, orchestral, with pounding timpani and dynamic brass. Suddenly, I recognize my own position. I stand beyond futility, within the tragicomic space of the absurd. As the warrior strides across the plain towards the giant, the music builds to a crescendo. I realize he intends to slay the vultures. He has choices that the rest of us do not. I want to go to him, admire him, inspect the many vibrant colours of his deeply textured hair, the finely detailed muscles that play around his breastplate, the lovingly dyed sandals that bind his bulging calves. He is so much richer, so much more real than me. I'm desperate to reach him, to touch him even, but I can't move. My mind strains, but as if in a nightmare, the muscles it is reaching for do not respond. It is as if the rock and I are a single system, locked in an eternal dance. I cannot exist without my rock. I'm nothing without my rock. The warrior raises his sword. The vultures squawk and squirl. The giant groans. The music reaches a crescendo, and the great birds' heads tumble to the plain. As the hero reaches for the giant's bonds, a divine voice booms from high above. Player 1, Tartarus mission complete. I place my cheek against the cool stone and tense my pixelated deltoids. My rock is my burden, my mission, my role in this great game. I have no choice, but I must act as though I do. Just one more push, and the rock and I will be on the mountain slopes again.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. That one absolutely kept me guessing. I did not see that particular Volta twist coming at all. So let me just double check. So our next contributor, we have two more. So our penultimate before mark is Neil, who is another long-standing friend of the Void, who has written us a Petrarchan sonnet. So if you will bear with me, I will get that up for us and we can begin.
Congratulations, Mark. I got my copy yesterday. Perhaps water. Drumming syncopated on the tiles, the grey rain tumbles and stumbles on down to pour away. The day accepts a crown of wet authority. For all the miles, water ruled people for a while, washing them away. It's like a ghost town, empty streets, and the life has now been drowned. The song of rain keeps me so beguiled. I've been missing you. I don't know how long I will hear beneath the rain the silence of your absence. Everything has gone wrong, sky crying, no substitute for your song now gone. The rain falling fills my eyeless gaze. Perhaps the water will help me be strong.
Fantastic. Thank you, Neil, for that. I just love that line when you say I've been missing you, and just I feel my guts just clench every time at that. Absolute punch in the chest. So thank you for that. And we have our last piece coming up from Ashley, and it is called Leave of Absence.
Leave of absence. I wanted to drive into the country to get away from some things. Patty's sister was in the hole again, about $9,000, and the gutters needed a good mucking before winter. Then, on Monday, the boss chewed me out over some reports I forgot to file, but I couldn't tell him the truth of the matter. Jim, the brandy, the afternoon pooling our bonuses down at the track. I turned up my right pocket, hoping to find some excuse in there, and out fell a couple of quarters, plus the rat tail. "What is that?" said the boss. There was still some life in the tail, and it flopped around for a while under the desk where my shoe could not reach it. The left pocket was even worse. After that, I understood there was no point showing up to the office happy hour again. I never liked that job much anyway. Too much paperwork for a Friday, I told Patty as she swerved toward that elliptical bend in the road, the one where the cliff pinched the sea. "Hell if that isn't true," she replied, and floored it.
Oh man, I love that one. That piece is just the master of the hinted at, you know, there are whole worlds and stories that hide behind those couple of sentences. The way that we're all of course the rat tail. We all know about the rat tail. There's a story there, isn't there? Thank you. So that brings to an end the first part of the reading, which was our Volta readers. So as I think most of you know, Volta was so every other issue of the void space is a pop-up. So usually either reader generated, or if no one sent me anything, I make one up. And it's a different kind of interactivity, a different kind of participatory literary happening where everybody is responding to the same prompt and to the same set of instructions and within the same vibe. So I think it's become a really key part of what we do in the void space. So this time I'm intending that any void space book that I publish is going to have a pop-up dedicated to it. That is the plan. So it's the first time that we try this experiment, and it's worked really, really well. For those of you who are keeping an eye on the chat, I just put in the chat a link to the edition. I'm actually going to publish it on the website after this celebration is over, so you guys have had the sneak peek. But please do feel free at your leisure to read the other pieces in this issue. Honestly, absolutely cracking stuff. I feel like the quality of the work just gets better and better. Really, really thrilled by it. So now we're going to move on to the headliner, if you like, Mark, whose interactive sonnet, our choose your own sonnet, has been published in hard copy for the first time. Those of you who've been around long enough will know that the first version of this came out online. Mark wrote it specially for Void Space 1, I believe. But actually, it's been really interesting in the process of turning it into a hard copy text to see how that actually changes the nature of the text a lot and changes. There's just a subtle shift in dynamics and the interplay between the kind of traditional textuality and anyway. So much to say about it, but you're not here to listen to me. You are here to listen to Mark. So just before I hand over to Mark, I'm going to explain how we're going to do this. So Fault Lines is an interactive poem, which means that at certain points there will be choices to be made. And I want everybody who's comfortable to get involved. What I'm going to do is when we reach one of these choices, Mark will prompt you as to which one to choose. And I suggest, Mark, that we do it by just using like the last, maybe the word that's in caps, yeah. And then what I'd like you to do, we'll give a beat or two for people to put in the chat just the text of the choice that they want to go for. Mark is very kindly going to try and keep track of the choices in the chat and tell me which page of Fault Lines that will involve going to. So you're only going to see a really small fraction of the book on this read through, because the great thing about it is that there are lots of endings and there is also something else going on, which anyway, I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to hand over to Mark.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and get you through one route into one ending, and then give you a sneak peek at a couple of endings, and then maybe even give you a sneak peek or a hint at something else. So we will start like we do on page 1.
Okay, hang on a minute. Sorry. Can
You're
everybody
right.
hear okay, by the way? I don't know if it's my volume settings that are an issue or something else.
So,
I'm just going to
I'm a bit quiet. Okay.
a little soft. A little soft.
Better now?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay,
Turn
I'm
myself
just gonna get us to the front page with the Void Space Press logo on it. It's so pretty. Okay. Cool.
zoom in a lot, I would say.
Yeah, I just need to change my screen around so that I can actually.
So yeah, as whilst Katie is doing that, so this is entirely her fault. I was working on another book that I was trying to get finished, and she went, "Oh, you should do this," and then she showed me trying. And it's not based in reality, but I had recently been through a big breakup, and I was kind of thinking of it the way that breakups are so prevalent in art, and how they're turned into art. And this was kind of, I was thinking about it earlier about the kind of notion of what ifs, and everyone goes through what ifs and what could have happened and what might have happened. And this poem takes it to an extreme, because if you sit in things for too long, that's what can happen. And this poem is kind of an exercise in that. So yeah, that's why it gets a bit weird. So we will start from the start, which is page 1. You want to zoom in more, because that's is that looking to everyone as like a landscape image, like a landscape? Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay.
We sit across from each other and try to assign blame. Is the fault yours or mine? So you just put in yours or mine in the chat, and I will count them as we do so. Okay, we seem to have a winner there with yours, so let's go with yours. So page 2. We sit across from each other and try to assign blame. It's easy. It's your fault. Go to page 3. We sit across from each other and try to understand why you did it. Were things so bad that you had to explode your life? I'm not sure where to start. The lies or him? So either lies or him. Have lies as the winner there. And so, okay. So that sends us to page 4. Page 5. Am I right? Page 4? I think it should be page 4, Katie, not page 5. I think that's an older draft. Let's go up to page 4. So, we sit across from each other and try to understand why you did it. For things so bad, you had to explode your life. There's only one place to start. All the lives. Then we go to page 5. Okay. You sit across from each other and try to understand how you did it. The thing so bad that you had to explode your life. You told all your friends about dying, 7 months to live, inoperable. There were strangers watching, or a GoFundMe. So either strangers or GoFundMe. You think? Strangers. Okay, let's go for strangers. You told all your friends that I was dying, 7 months to live, inoperable. Strange men at a respectful distance, sighing. Do they approach or message me? So either approach or message. I'm imagining like countdown music as this happens. Okay, message seems to win there, so we'll go to page 10. You told all your friends that I was dying, 7 months to live, inoperable. Strange men at a respectful distance, sighing at night. They message me, adult, offering me their love or assistance. So either love or assistance. Love and for assistance. Just go with the vibes, Wes. So I think one more vote because I think we're kind of stuck between. Are we? Assistance. Okay, let's go for assistance. So page 14. Strange men at a respectful distance, sighing at night. They message me adult. They want to offer me some assistance. To teach me French, mindfulness, common sense. I choose lockpicking or prodigal sin. So lockpicking or sins. Okay, I think I'll call that as sins. So page 24. Strange men at a respectful distance, sighing at night. They message me adult. They want to offer me some assistance to teach French, mindfulness, common sense. I choose prodigal sins. Study of evil in firstborn sons through history. I read the intro or look at the picture. So intro or picture. Okay, pictures is the winner there. Skipping ahead to page 44. We have our first completed sonnet. We sit across from each other and try to understand who you did it. For things so bad that you had to explode your life. You told all your friends that I was dying, 7 months to live, inoperable. Strange men at a respectful distance, sighing. At night, they message me, adults. They want to offer me some assistance to teach me French, mindfulness, common sense. I pick prodigal sins, the study of evil in firstborn sons throughout history. I look at the pictures and see myself bald in Photoshop fundraising posters that you make, books as I make open. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump around a little bit and show you 3 other endings, and then we might have a brief look at a very different route. So we'll just go back forward to page 45, just one forward. And this is a different route, and this is what 45 page.
Yeah.
This is a different route. If you follow the options and do a different route. You sit across from each other and try to understand how you did it. With things so bad that you had to explode your life. You told all your friends that I was dying, 7 months to live, and there's a GoFundMe to pay for my next hospital stay and my operation. I find out more, click video, I'm left squinting for a moment in an empty frame. They skip ahead 1 minute and see me crying about cancer. How I thought I could beat it. I don't remember this. And you explain that it's a side effect. You hold my hand and say, you always forget. And then, as you see, at the bottom of that, it says, or no. You can always try again. So we're going to try again, and I'm going to go to page 36 and see what ending is there. You told all your friends that I was dying, 7 months to live, and operable. Strange men greet me in the supermarket, ask how I'm doing, sigh, patronize me. Sometimes they push my shoulders, make me sick. The security guards terrorize me. Why did you lie? Swallow asks. Money? Doesn't wait for an answer. For what? How much did you want? You wanted a lot, right? To start a new life, to disappear. He opens his coat. You can hide in here. And then the last one I'll read is page 42. Strange men at a respectful distance, sighing at night. They message me, adult. They want to offer me some assistance. French, mindfulness, common sense. I click block. A large box arrives, far too big for what it has been advertised. I open it and find pictures of you, expertly collaged and framed to convey exactly where you've been, why you. So, just to give you a taster, we will try and go to let me see. Let's go to page 54, Katie.
I'm just having to add 4 each time. My mental math is improving in real time here.
So this is the reader and the narrator. It really hurts me that you think that. I don't think that's very helpful. The options are, I'm not trying to hurt you, or it's all your fault. So hurt or false. If you pick one, we'll go to that page. False, hurt, 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 hurt. Okay, we're going with hurt, so page 55. Good. Go to page 2. Sends you back to the start. We sit across from each other and try to assign blame. It's easy. Your fault. I think I'll leave it at there. There's lots more to investigate. And I will say one thing, the whole pop-up and the idea for the VOTA, actually maybe, Katie, we'll show one last thing. We won't explain it, but we'll show a certain page. We'll show page 62.
62, I know the page you mean. Let me just get it back up.
So if you follow a different route, you'll be presented with page 62. And this is where VOTA came from. And that's all I'm going to say. But what I will say is for all the endings, of which there's about 28, there is one true ending. And the true ending is the one that has a title. So keep playing until you find that. And it's in that page somewhere. So hopefully you'll have some fun playing that. And then yes, I just want to say thank you so much to Katie for making this happen, for putting this book together and being absolutely amazing, and for playing a blinder with Void Space, as far as I'm concerned, and with nobody else doing this. And it's a real testament to the work, but also like Void Space Live is going to be happening on Sunday the 9th of June in Theatre Delhi in London. I'm going to be there teaching a workshop, which I'll tell you about it briefly. There's going to be all kinds of theatre and amazingness, and yeah, it's going to be mental. And Katie's going to have an interactive live breakdown, from all the organising, but we'll be fine. Yeah, I will tell you briefly about the workshops I'm doing. So this is kind of inspired by FAULTLINES. It's called Random Acts, and it's a generative poetry workshop. It's a workshop designed to generate new drafts of poems through interactivity, randomness, group consensus, chance, erasures, cut-ups, and even dice rolls. In 90 minutes, you should come away with 4 first drafts, be working on a future and hopefully new ways of working to shape up the creative process. So that's pretty much it for me. I just want to thank you all for coming and taking part. I'm delighted to see some of you have your books already. And thank you again to Katie.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. I just wanted to flag that I have put in the chat links to where you can go to order FAULTLINES right now if you haven't yet. And It might even get to you in a couple of weeks now. I've been ironing out the kind of practical distribution side of things. It's going smoother by the minute. So please do, if you want to find out more about fault lines and just hold this beautiful thing, honestly, it feels so beautiful. It's really, really worth it. Then do. And I've also put in the link in the chat a link to Void Space Live if you happen to be within a reasonable distance of London, which I know many of you aren't. But if you can and know anyone who might be, come along to Mark's workshop because it sounds amazing. And yeah, I'm going to stop recording now. But thank you all so much for an absolutely brilliant event. I'm going to leave the Zoom open for people who want to stay and chat. But for everybody else, thank you.
Thank you.